What's going on, guys? I'm Cash.
And I'm Chad.
And today we're talking about financial literacy.
Everybody needs credit nowadays to get an apartment, to get a car, to get a house.
To do anything. To get a mattress.
Get a mattress.
You can't afford it and you need that store card, gotta have credit.
You're gonna be sleeping on the floor.
Right, Best Buy.
Or air mattress. But credit goes from 300 to 850.
If you have an 850 credit score, this
you don't even need to be watching.
Yeah, you don't need to be on here. This video is specifically for people who are trying to rebuild their credit or for people who don't have credit.
And the first topic that we're gonna cover is budget.
Now, for me, guys, and I'm sure for you guys, it's going to be different because everybody makes, a different amount of money. Everybody's job is different.
But despite that, you still need to budget your money, keeping up with the latest fashions, buying the latest sneakers, the latest whatever. That's horrible for your credit, unless you're filthy rich.
What Chad tells me all the time is pay yourself first.
Right, that's the rule of thumb.
Right.
When you get your check for the week or the month or 2 weeks, however you get paid, you should always take a certain amount of money, put it to the side for yourself before you pay your bills.
Now, let me talk a little bit from a personal perspective. The way I set up my budget, and the way I have been setting up my budget the last couple months, which has been working amazing, is I take out the exact amount that I want to save every month. And then I separate every bill that I have. I know the exact amount that I need to pay. So I keep that money in my account. There's a lot of fraudulent activities. I've had fraudulent activities on my account. So I'm very wary of keeping a lot of money in my bank.
There's ways to combat that.
There's 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I use one of the credit bureaus. I pay them a monthly subscription of, I believe, $24, $25 in order for them to let me know my exact credit score and everything that's happening on my account and why and when it's happening.
There's companies out there where you can log on and kind of check your credit, but it's not really going to be that accurate. A lot of times it lags.
There's 6 factors that truly affect what your credit is like, and I'll tell you what they are right now. So hard inquiries. When you're applying for credit and you go say, hey, this is my name, this is all your information, and they look up your credit, that's considered a hard inquiry, and that's negative.
Yeah, like if you go to a car dealership, you give them all your information, they run your credit, then you're like, I'm not going to buy it from them, I'm going to go to the one across the street.
Right.
They do the same thing, it's going down. You go again to a third place, a fourth, fifth, so on and so forth, up to a certain point.
If you have 0 inquiries, obviously that's good. It's not realistic, I would say, personally.
Well, you could just be not buying that.
Right, you know what I mean? But if you are trying to build credit, you're gonna have some hard inquiries. Every hard inquiry after 2 years is gone. But that doesn't mean go crazy and apply for 7 credit cards the same day. That's not something that I would advise.
At all.
At all. And it ranges. If you have 1 inquiry, it's fine. If you have 6, it's gonna affect your credit score, but a low impact. The next one is your total accounts. So this is the amount of accounts that you have credit for. That could be credit card, that could be mortgage, that could be a car loan. And this has also a low impact on your credit score. I would say, guys, try and get a couple accounts. Obviously, don't go crazy, but build them over time. Now, onto the third part. It's, like I said, credit history, and that takes time. I haven't had credit long. I was able to build my credit score over time. The more accounts you have, the age on those accounts, like when you close an account, you actually lose the time that you've had that card. So you kind of want to hold the balance sometimes. Don't make it too extreme, but
you actually want to keep some balance, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the video.
Right.
Like what kind of percentage you should have on it to get perfect credit. 4th
area that affects your credit is derogatory remarks. So that counts as bankruptcies, foreclosures. If you don't pay your rent,
non-payments.
Your renter, the person you're renting from, may say, hey, this guy isn't paying rent, let's attack his credit.
It's pretty much common sense. You don't pay, you're gonna get a ding on your credit.
Right. Now that is a high impact. The next step is credit card utilization. We talked about this a little bit so far, but it's always good to have a slight balance. But when you're overextending your credit, it's a high impact ding.
It's a high impact.
Final and last one, guys, the 6th one is actually your payment history. So the more payments you miss, the more it affects your credit. So not only is it a derogatory remark, it's also counted as a missed payment, which is also a high impact. So you guys, you just want to pay your stuff on time. And if you can't pay your stuff on time, communication.
A lot is said to a creditor when you just give them a phone call. Hey, listen, I can't make the full payment. I could put something on it. they appreciate that a lot, and that goes a long way. So if you get a letter in the mail from your debt collections and things like that, open it immediately. Call them immediately. Take care of that. That's the responsible thing.
If you duck from them, and you put it off, it's just gonna make things worse.
If you have bad credit, what do you do? Right?
Right.
What do you do?
Well, I personally have never had bad credit,
Wow.
but I'm just being honest. I've had dips in my credit, which, guys, honestly, when you're on the track to trying to build your credit or you're trying to get your credit back to an okay place, you're gonna have bumps in the road. That's just
Well,
it's gonna fluctuate.
I had situations where my credit was less than perfect. I thought that using a debt consolidation company was a good idea, but here's the key. You save money with the debt consolidation. However, the credit bureaus, when that goes onto your report, it's like a little bit above bankruptcy. There's alternatives, okay? One of them is credit repair agencies.
Yeah.
You pay a fee, they send letters out, they dispute all of the different
remarks or anything that's on your credit report that, honestly, you can get a lot of this stuff off.
Option number 2 is actually getting a personal loan from the bank, and it's not going to be a hard ding on your credit because you actually are still going to continue to have revolving credit through this personal loan. So that's definitely a good look. Earlier in the video, we were going to get back to how much you should actually spend on your actual credit card. If you get a balance, you have $1,000 credit, you buy something that's $800, you want to try to pay huge chunks on that until it gets down to about 10%, between 10 and 7. It's a negative thing to pay your credit card down to 0. That doesn't help you grow your credit. You definitely don't want to just pay it down to 0.
It's crazy. I've had credit card companies shut cards down on me because I wasn't using it.
Inactivity.
Just out of nowewhere.
Because it's a liability to the company.
Yeah, you're not gonna use our credit. And
they
they're trying
give it to somebody else.
Right, they're trying to get that interest, guys. That's really what it comes down to.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pay some interest.
You have to pay some interest. That's 100%. If you want good credit, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of interest. Now, if you keep your debt low, that interest is gonna be very minimal. You're not even gonna really feel it.
Right.
But if your debt is high, that 20, 22, 23, 24%, it could be brutal every month.
Even down to some people who don't have any credit cards. What do they do?
If you don't have any credit cards, I would start with a secure card.
You gotta pay into it.
Right.
You gotta take your actual cash, pay into it, and start that line of them actually reporting how you make payments on the payment schedule. Super important.
I also look for cards. I don't really do secure cards. I've never done secure cards. I've always done regular credit cards. And when I do a regular credit card, I look for a card with 18 months free interest.
And another key factor is that credit bureaus only record the last balance statement that you've had. You can't do any of the stuff we just said. You can't do consolidation, you can't do credit repair, you don't have any kind of money, you just flat broke. And this could happen if you get divorced or something cataclysmic happens to you.
Life happens.
There's still a way though. I mean, it's gonna take some time. You gotta wait 7 years. You're gonna have debt collectors calling you nonstop. I mean, it's gonna be crazy if you even have a phone. If you can wait and just be on a cash only basis. Storm? Yeah, if you could just be on a cash only basis for 7 years, that stuff will just repair itself.
Creditors are pretty much looking for a person that's responsible. That's not gonna overextend their credit. Right. That's gonna spend a little bit of money, gonna pay a little bit of interest, but that at the end of the day, not gonna max out cards and overspend and not pay on balances. They just want a responsible person.
So don't try to keep up with the Joneses.
Right. Don't be buying cars you can't afford. If you're looking at that bill every month and it hurts to make that payment, you probably can't afford that. Just being honest. If you go into clubs, popping bottles, and not paying your bills, that's an issue.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between buying something and being able to afford it.
Right.
Because if you don't have everything else in order, you're gonna fail.
You have nobody to impress. If you're trying to build wealth, and honestly, if you look at some of the wealthiest people,
they don't wear all of that fancy
stuff. They don't wear Gucci belts, Hermes belts. They're not rocking Trues.
Yeah, like Warren Buffett, one of the richest guys on the planet, he still drives his 1989 Volvo and lives in a 3-bedroom house.
Worth billions, could buy anything. Yeah. Anything he wants. He buys companies. That's what he do.
Basically. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Cash and Chad, man. You know what I mean? Thanks for tuning in.
If you have any questions or anything you want to relay to us or any kind of topics you want us to talk about.
Hit that inbox. comments,
hit the
inbox,
comments
whatever you
below.
want.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look forward to it, guys.
That's it, we out.